This thing is like looks part werewolfy, part Bigfoot. It's a dog.
We like our
It'd be
dogs.
terrifying. Yeah, it'd be terrifying to see. I mean, they say it's like 6 to 7 feet tall.
It was first sighted on 2 consecutive nights in 1936 on the grounds of a school for exceptional children.
So there were mutants there too, huh?
It was Xavier's school. No one is ever going to believe that we literally watched these movies once. We watched Twilight's and then we watched all the Hostels.
Yeah, yeah. It was a crazy weekend. Let me tell you, that was something.
Speaking of demons, that's going to lead into our "What Did I Just See?"
That's
of
terrifying.
the day. This post is called "The Passenger."
Welcome to your weekly dose of weird, the haunted, and the hidden. This is Hypothetically Sound with Alek and Randy.
Welcome back to Hypothetically Sound. We hope you guys are having a great day. As always, I am one of your hosts, Randy, joined by the other host, Alek.
How's it going?
And we are back with another Cryptid Hunter episode. And this time, Alek, we are going to an area that we know very well. We are heading back to Wisconsin.
Gross. But heck yeah.
Elkhorn, to be specific. If you're at home and you're like, where in the world is Elkhorn? It is kind of in, like, not really the middle, but on one of the lines of a triangle between Madison, Rockford, and Milwaukee. So it's pretty close to Illinois. It's really close to one of the Great Lakes. And so we're heading to Elkhorn looking at the Beast of Bray Road.
Yeah, it's interesting to know that like every state has some sort of like cryptid or legend or something.
Now, I'm not gonna lie to the audience. Grew up in Wisconsin, near Wisconsin. I had never heard of the Beast of Bray Road. Have you heard of the Beast of Bray Road?
Yeah, like in high school once, it was like mentioned as like, oh, urban legend things in Wisconsin, but it's kind of like in Arkansas, the Ozark, Howler and stuff like that. It's like you just know the little tidbits of what people will be like, oh, this is what this is famous for, and then like you never hear about it again because
So I had never heard of it. I guess maybe I just didn't like go, even though I've always liked paranormal, ghosts and stuff like that. I just never went that far into cryptids. And so it's interesting to find new things in areas that I know pretty well. So I'm excited to talk about this one. You want to start us off and give a little more information on what the Beast of Bray Road is to the audience?
Yeah, man. So, as you said, it's primarily located in Elkhorn, Wisconsin, along the Bray Road, right? And then the surrounding areas. The first time it was seen was like in the 1930s, which we'll get into a little bit later. It had a major sighting spiking in the 80s and 90s, like the early 90s. This thing is like looks part werewolfy, part Bigfoot. It's a dog.
We like our dogs.
It'd be terrifying. Yeah, it'd be terrifying to see. I mean, they say it's like 6 to 7 feet tall. This thing's huge. It's muscular, broad-shouldered. It walks like a human. It's dark brown or black fur. Not going to judge. It's shaggy. It's described as like gray or matted.
Yeah.
It has the wolf dog-like head, pointed ears, glowing yellow red eyes, sharp fangs. The classics.
Yeah, which makes sense for one of its nicknames being the Wisconsin werewolf.
The werewolf, yep. Long arms, clawed hands. It's like hunching or crouching, hunting, But again, it can just walk. And some people have claimed to see it on all fours, but a lot of times it's walking.
And I think that's what's fascinating about this one, doing the research on it, is it has all these different elements to it that make it humanoid, but it's never classified as a humanoid. Like it is for sure a werewolf. Like there is no confusing it. There's no, well, maybe this, maybe that. Nope. Everybody, all the reports just link to werewolf, really. Wolf, werewolf, hellhound for some. and it's aggressive. A lot of the reports are it's chasing things, it's eating things, they're finding carcasses, and we'll get in more detail, like you said, with a lot
It's
of
just
these
doing
things.
big dog shit.
It is the alpha of that area. Bray Road belongs to the Beast.
Oh, Bray Road.
But yeah, no, that was a great explanation of what it looked like. I think the people are home already. Here's some history. As you said, 1930. That's pretty early Wisconsin times. Different area than we grew up in. But apparently,
thank goodness.
it was first sighted on 2 consecutive nights in 1936 on the grounds of a school for exceptional children.
So there were mutants there too, huh?
Apparently,
Yeah.
it was Xavier's school.
Yeah.
Apparently, a night watchman witnessed it digging. Here comes the more cryptid of it, on an Indian burial mound that was located on the property. Apparently, he saw it doing it a couple nights in a row. So that leads a little more into like maybe this thing is a long-lived cryptid that is infused with a lot of Native American folklore, or maybe it's just cursed because it digged in the wrong hole.
Yeah, I mean, could have been just a grave tender tending graves, hit the wrong plot, boom, curse for life, is now the weird man.
And apparently, after this 1930s, this 2-night reporting, it kind of went away for a while. There were scattered reports all the way up until the 80s when this thing, like you said, it blew up and started being seen everywhere. A lot of people during the 80s started reporting that a huge beast were chasing their cars. They would wake up and there was long scratches on the doors, on the trunks of their vehicles. One woman even says she hit something, and it was bigger than a deer, but she didn't stop because she was scared. And then a lot of people report animal mutilations. They say that they find livestock, deers, things like that, with specific organs removed from the animal carcass, and it's not completely ate. And so, like, there was a lot of crazy things happening in the 80s and 90s, which leads to the thing that made it a popular cryptid in Wisconsin. In the 90s, it was picked up by a local newspaper. They assigned the story and the investigation to a woman named Linda Godfrey. And as you would be, she was skeptical of the whole thing. But as she did more and more witnesses, and as she dug deeper into the lore of the Beast of Bray Road, she started believing a lot of the stories she was reading. So much so that her articles in the 90s turned into a book called The Beast of Bray Road, telling Wisconsin's werewolf, that was published in 2003. And since then, The Beast of Bray Road has been a very popular cryptid nationally now.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of insane when someone goes out and like tries to, prove this hoax incorrect or as a hoax, and ends up being like a believer of it. And maybe she saw the money in it.
Yeah.
And the possibility, again, cryptids are huge back in like the 90s and early 2000s. It was easy to get these across. People are interested in the unknown. It was solid. But if she truly believes in it, like, it's pretty impressive that she went and was like, whew.
And what's interesting is, obviously people have searched for it during the 2010s. And in 2018 and 2020, more reports in different areas a little farther away from Elkhorn in Spring Prairie and Lyons have reported seeing said creature. So,
and for those that don't know, real quick, Spring Prairie and Lyons are both in the same county.
yeah.
So they are relatively close. So at least it stays in the area.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think actually gives it more credibility than others.
Yeah.
I want to just super point out, because like cryptids that are all of a sudden across the state somehow is really kind of weird.
Yeah, like it's not going from southern Wisconsin to the northwest part near Minnesota without being seen, caught on a camera, and things like that.
Yeah. So it makes it feel like it is something that is just local to said area.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to explanations, if it is local to said area, that does mean that it is a possible mass hysteria event.
Yeah, that is also possible. It's become such it kind of like, it's like the Freddy lore. Like that's what makes Freddy Krueger so dangerous in his movies, is the town believes in him so much that like he stays around, and that could be what's happening here.
Yep. I mean, of course, there are other explanations.
Mm-hmm.
Some theories of that it is just straight up a werewolf or a shapeshifter.
Yeah.
You know, tied to some ancient curses of Native American legends. It could just be an unknown animal. Maybe a demonic or supernatural being because of the glowing eyes and aggression, and then the vanishing.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes it weird because there is no photos of this thing or camera. It's been like seen for the last 80 years?
Yeah.
90 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like the fact that it's been reported multiple times throughout 90 years is kind of insane. And without any actual evidence,
Mm-hmm.
Some people think it might be an escaped exotic pet. As I said, mass hysteria. Some think it might be like a bear, like an American black bear suffering from mange.
Yeah.
Which, bears have been known to just stumble upon 2 feet.
Yeah, and like I think this goes back to what we were talking in the bear dog episode, is again, people have an idea of the size of creatures in their head, and then when they actually see it in real life, it might be bigger or smaller than what they're expecting, and that changes their opinion on what the thing could be. And so seeing something bigger than what you in your mind think a wolf is, being that it's the size of a large dog, and then you see a wolf that, because there are some really big wolves out there, that's bigger than what you're expecting, all of a sudden that can't possibly be a wolf. Or you see a bear walking on 2 feet, and you're like, that's not a bear, that's a werewolf or something like that. And so again, that's my explanation for a lot of things, is people just, they have an idea in their mind. When it doesn't meet expectations, they have to have some kind of logic for the chaos that their brain is seeing.
Yeah. I also think it might be a series of like a fisherman's tale.
Yeah.
Where it's like you catch a solid like size fish, but that fish gets bigger every time you tell it. And then when people tell the story of how big your fish was, it gets bigger every time they tell it,
Mm-hmm. And
but
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but other than like footprints and stuff, like they're not even real samples. It's just like alleged scratch marks and footprints, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is nothing else for this creature.
Yeah. And and even the animal carcasses that they find, we do have wolves in Wisconsin.
Rare, but yeah.
Like there are things, there's feral dogs, there's all kinds of things. It could be Wisconsin is known for the serial killers, so it could be someone testing out their psychotic fantasies. And so there's like,
True.
They're all explanations other than, it's this werewolf that some night watchman saw in the 30s digging in a Indian burial mound that they had on their property for some reason. All right, speaking of that place is cursed. Like, do you think that's the only like, look at this, we're building this place, but there's this one singular mound? No, you just built your property on an Indian burial site. We have seen the movies. We know the lore. That is bad juju. You are cursed.
Yeah, for sure. But you know, they don't care. That land was cheap.
And like this has appeared in other media. For example, in 2005, it got its own movie, The Beast of Bray Road. It's been on all kinds of different like cryptid TV shows, Monster Quest, Unexplained. In 2018, it got a documentary. Obviously, The Beast of Bray Road is the name, by a company called Small Town Monsters. It's inspired horror fiction, art, podcasts. It's everywhere. It's while it like people like werewolves already, and then if you give it a specific area, like it just feeds. It's a unique thing, and so people can tone into that one because it's near them or anything like that. So it's smart that it popped up in pop culture. It's not surprising in the least.
Yeah, werewolves are just one of the more popular cryptids, creatures, myths.
Yeah.
They always will be, you know, werewolves and vampires through and through.
Okay.
So like you said, not surprising they blew up.
So we've driven in Wisconsin, obviously, and at night through rural areas, side roads. If I'm driving and we see a large creature just like half a mile up, and we're like, that's more than just a shadow. Light hits it, we see the reflective eyes, and it's giant. Do I stop and turn around? Do I keep going? Do I hit it? What do you think we would do?
What? Okay, so there's a lot of questions I need to have follow up. First of all, is it in the middle of the road?
No, it is off to the side, like what a deer would be when you're looking for deer.
Okay. So rural Wisconsin is you most likely slow down when you see reflective eyes, right?
You ain't trying to hit
it's rule of everywhere when with deer. Like if you see reflection, you need to slow down because you're going to total your car or worse. But if we get a good look of that motherfucker, we're on the other side of the road. Like we're swerving to the other side of the road if we can. Otherwise, like if this thing's in the middle of the road, we're stopping long before we get up to it for obvious reasons, and your ass is backing up. Like we're not gonna go in. If we had the Cadillac though,
right through it.
No, like we did accidentally hit a deer going like 70 in the Caddy, and all it did was tear up our front light. It ran through it.
Yeah, like my front of my car was a mess. But like I had to take a second because we hit it. I didn't realize I hit it, and all of a sudden I noticed that one of my headlights were gone.
And then I stepped out and looked, and I saw a smashed headlight and blood and fur, and I was like, "Damn, we hit a deer." I want to also preface this wasn't during the day.
Yeah, this was like 3 a.m.
Yeah, it was very dark outside. You know, rural Wisconsin, so no lights whatsoever, other than our headlights. And
if you know, you know.
Yeah, we tired talking to each other. I'm glad it was a deer. We did confirm it the next day.
Yeah, its butt was exploded on the other side of the road.
Yeah. Like we did go back and see if try to find it too, to get it out of the road. By the way, it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, and we found out it went on the other side of the road. So poor deer. So yeah, if you're in the Caddy, probably I don't know. Blow
risk
on through. Yeah, I'm not sure, man. Like it's scary. I think if it's hunched over, it might look humanoid, so you might slow down. But if it like looks at you with glowing eyes, I don't know. That's a demon, brother. And you know what? The best thing to do is to fight your demons and just go on through it. You know, that's a roadblock that I don't want to deal with.
Understandable. Speaking of demons, that's going to lead into our "What did I just see?"
That's
of
terrifying.
the day.
Oh my God.
This post is called "The Passenger." This happened about 3 years ago, just outside of a small town in Kentucky. I was driving back from a late shift, dead tired, barely in traffic, was around 2 a.m. and I was on a long stretch of a country road when I saw something standing just off the shoulder. At first, I thought it was a deer, but as I got closer, I realized it was human shaped. Tall, maybe 6'5", with elongated arms and a head that looked wrong. It was like it was wrapped in something sheer, almost like plastic or stretched skin. I slowed down, and that's when it turned towards me. It didn't move, it didn't flinch, it just watched as I passed by. I tried to brush it off, sleep deprived, rural worlds, imagination, but here's the weird part. I glanced in my rearview mirror right after I passed it, and it was gone. Not just out of sight, I mean totally gone. I was on a straight road, no woods, no ditches to hide in. I didn't stop, I didn't turn around, I just drove home with every light on in my car. The next morning, my passenger seatbelt was buckled.
Huh. What did they see?
What do you think?
I'm a dublagata. Oh no, I feel like if I say its name, it's gonna haunt me.
Fair.
Yeah, it is weird though. It is a weird story, kind of spooky, spooky. I don't know.
Definitely something paranormal. More,
yeah.
I think, different than, it wasn't cryptid. It wasn't like a creature that is repeatedly saw. I definitely think it was something paranormal. Maybe a friendly ghost that's trying to remind you to buckle your seatbelt.
Something.
Maybe the tall man.
It reminded me of like those old ghost stories that you get your like kids like ghost story books. It reminded me of like one of those kind of stories where it was like, oh, you saw a hitchhiker and they were in the car, but when you got a certain distance, they just disappeared.
Yeah, it did remind me of like, I don't think it was
more stories you tell in the dark.
Yeah,
that's what it is. Stories you tell in the dark. That's what it reminded me.
Like, I didn't get a sense of anything evil from the story. It does sound like one of those stories where it was like you say you're dead tired, you're barely keeping your eyes open, and then your brain kind of processes something to keep you engaged so you don't like hurt yourself. Or like the people who like, I stopped at I had all of a sudden I picked up this person and I took them somewhere instead of going my normal route, and there was a car crash that killed 12 people and I would have been in it if I wasn't there. So it could be one of those circumstances as well. Like just this creature decided to take you under its wing.
Story like that, don't we? Not us specifically, but like a family member when the bridge collapsed in Minneapolis. He was going to somewhere early for once. Like he usually goes roughly around the time it collapsed, but he decided to leave early and he got over the bridge and like 5 minutes later it collapsed.
That was also a lucky day for me because I was supposed to be in Minneapolis that day, but I decided not to because I was lazy and didn't want to drive 45 minutes to downtown Minneapolis. And so
it's just crazy how like one decision, waking up early or being like maybe I'll get there early one day, or being a little late.
I wanted to go to the mall. That was what it was. I wanted to go to the mall. And to get to the mall, like I had to go across the bridge. And I just decided not to go to the mall because I didn't want to spend money that I didn't have and waste gas. But yeah, crazy. Like these stories I find interesting. People that tell stories about seeing something or hearing something or something impacting their car ride home when they're tired. And while my brain tells me it's just your brain making something up to keep you from doing something bad, it's still interesting stories.
Yeah, for sure.
So with that, Alec, it is time for the moment that everybody wants. So shout out.
Hell yeah. Yeah, shout out if you're Team Jacob. Fuck Edward. Fuck vampires. Werewolves all day. Woo.
You know, fair. I do like the werewolves in Twilight much more than the vampires.
I also, kinda, until the end where he imprints on their daughter. That shit's... That's very weird.
Hey, it wasn't about love, okay? It was about protection. but eventually
But like
love.
he saw everything that happened to her in her life from the imprint, and it's kind of weird. The whole situation's weird. And then like reasonable crash out, you imprinted on my daughter. What the hell? And everyone's like, oh, well, I think it's a good.
It's not about that. I mean, it's not like that with Nessie. You named nicknamed my daughter after Loch Ness Monster. That clip it will
reasonable
forever.
Crash out. Yeah, it's a reasonable like crash out. Like, what the fuck do you mean you imprinted on my 1-month-old child? Well, you know, it's cool. It's just like it happens. It's not my fault. I wasn't attracted to you. I was attracted to the unborn child. And like, excuse me? Like, it's so weird, bro. It's so weird. Yeah. And then again, Edward's just like, I mean, it's a wolf thing. At least she's protected for the rest of her life.
He's like, I haven't decided if I'm going to kill him yet. The whole dynamic, that three-way dynamic is weird.
It's so weird. Also, yeah, it is weird that it started with like love triangle, and then she chose Edward, and then it became like Edward and Jacob trying to be homies-ish and like accepting the fact that they just like the same girl, and then they have a kid, and it's like, I don't like her, I like her. And then Edward's like, shit.
I mean, if it takes away from you always pining after my girl, I guess.
Yeah, like, this dude has no loyalty to his baby. I barely know her. I've known her for a month. I don't give a shit. Like,
no one is ever going to believe that we literally watched these movies once. We watched Twilight's, and then we watched all the Hostels.
Yeah, yeah. It was a crazy weekend. Let me tell you, that was something.
But thank you guys for listening to this episode. We hope you enjoyed it. As always, you can find us on all the social media sites under Hypothetically Sound. If you're interested in art and stickers and all these cool things, you can go to freealakai.com. And if you like the chaos of roll for like sandwich, roll for barbecue, roll for all the different things that are on TikTok and YouTube, I recently started a series called Roll for Sourdough, where I let the dice determine my sourdough. The first episode dropped recently. It was a fun one. I'm going to drop episodes every Wednesday, maybe more if it blows up. Yeah,
bro, maybe more. We have time. We gotta wait to make the goddamn bread, bro. It takes a week.
That's what I say. Like, maybe more. I do more at one time. But thank you guys for listening.
Dude, that's gonna be awful. You're gonna have 4 loaves of dog shit that
I have to turn into sandwich and find ways to consume. That's other content you'll see. Me finding ways to consume because I ain't wasting money. But until next time, we hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, have a great day.
Deuces.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Hypothetically Sound. We hope you enjoyed the episode. All episodes can be found at hypotheticallysound.podbean.com, as well as on Apple, Spotify, and Pandora. For full unedited video versions of the podcast, please visit us at youtube.com/hypotheticallysound.